creators of the Patriot Act say it was designed to protect the American public. Former President George W. Bush signed it into law a month after 9/11. It gives the government authority to monitor the country's communications in the name of preventing terrorism domestically and abroad.
We need to know who's in the country.
Since its passage, several legal challenges have been brought against the act, and federal courts have ruled that a number of provisions are unconstitutional, some of which were never designed to be permanent. That changed with a revised version of the bill that former President Bush later signed into law in 2006. 3 provisions of the law are set to expire at the end of this year, reigniting a debate over American civil liberties. The Justice Department urged Congress to renew the provisions and open the door to adding new privacy protections.
In fact, you've got
The Obama administration is bumping heads with critics of the Patriot Act, such as the American Civil Liberties Union, which suggests lawmakers are using the provision time limits as an opportunity to tighten existing laws. The 3 provisions deal with so-called roving wiretaps designed to capture suspects that evade surveillance by quickly changing their cell phone numbers. It also discusses government access to library and business records and how to deal with lone wolf members of suspected terrorism groups.
It's your own security that matters most. Law enforcement and national security efforts are a secondary and a role after direct security efforts have failed.
And the Obama administration says the provisions will be helpful tools to thwart pro-Al-Qaeda and Taliban militants' efforts that U.S. and NATO troops are fighting on the ground in Afghanistan and Iraq.
our goals are to eliminate Al-Qaeda as a threat. And as Prime Minister Harper mentioned, I think it is important to recognize that ultimately Afghan security has to transition onto the shoulders of the Afghan government and Afghan security forces.
Top senators say the Obama administration is willing to consider changes to address civil liberties concerns as long as they don't undermine the effectiveness of the Patriot Act. There's a scheduled hearing in Congress on the Patriot Act next week. For Press TV, Colin Campbell, Washington.